This video is meant to be a companion to the original video, How to Feed Your Rabbits Without the Feed Store. That video breaks down how much protein, carbohydrates, fiber, fats you need, as well as like the really nitty-gritty parts of your minerals and vitamins. If you don't want to watch a whole other video, that's completely fine. Go down in the description of this video. I've dropped the article that accompanies that video, so that way you can quickly scan through there. I've got all kinds of sources linked through there as well, so that way you can jump right to the Clemson EDU calculator for your feedstuffs, and that is going to really streamline this process and make it a lot less overwhelming for you to look at. This is not just a matter of, is this safe for my rabbit to eat or not, but it's also a matter of making sure that you are getting all of their nutritional needs met. So use that calculator that I've talked about. It's going to be in the article. You know what? I'll just link it down in the description as well, just so that way you've got that shortcut. Use it because it is amazing. I went without that calculator for the first 2 or 3 videos I did in the How to Feed Your Animals Without the Feed Store series. Oh my gosh, that calculator saves you so much time. It's so easy. It's very, very accurate. I've tested it on a couple things. It's excellent. So use that. It's amazing. I'm going to take you all around my place. I'm going to show you what I'm feeding my rabbits, tell you just a little bit about these plants. We're basically foraging. A lot of this stuff is not stuff that I have grown for my animals. It's just kind of wild here. I am in the northern Rocky Mountains in Montana. So if you're in my area, this is going to be directly beneficial to you. And if you're not, stick around because I'm going to show you how to research this stuff for yourself, so that way you can safely and carefully feed your animals without getting them hurt. I have raised many litters off of my 1 buck and 4 does over the past 3, I think it's been 3-ish years now, and I have not bought any pellets until this fall for those rabbits. So they were exclusively either hay that I had made out here on our place, stuff I had foraged for, stuff I grew in our garden, I almost forgot, or trees. Like, I've given them parts of trees out here, and they've done really well off of that. We've made it this far. No underweight babies, no health issues, no coccidiosis, nothing like that. So I'm really proud of that. We're going to start right here in my garden. This is one of my favorite places to harvest from because, as you can see, I got a hose through here. Oh my gosh, you guys, I started irrigating. It is amazing. And we have had so much rain this year in Montana. I think it's because I bought irrigation and I was excited to use it. So not as many wildfires this year. You're welcome. I think that's like the equivalent of washing your car to bring in the rain. But we've got some grass here. Most of your grasses are going to be fine for your animals. Take the time to figure out what species these are. You want to know your protein content with those for sure. Sugar content's good to know too. Small doses though. If you are just starting out with your rabbits, this much on the first day is plenty. I am not kidding. I know that does not look like much. It's not. It's really not much, but start out with like this much on the first day. Give this much on the second day. Do that from days 1 through 7. And then maybe on week 2, you come through and let's see. That. This is what I would feed on week 2. Real slow, you guys. It's better to be overly cautious and have really safe, really happy animals than push them too hard and make them suffer because you want it to be impatient. Just be patient, be slow. Most of your grasses are going to be 10 to 12, maybe 15% protein, usually in that area. You'll get a couple that are down there at like 7% protein. That's not great. 10 to 14 is great for most of your rabbits that are just kind of at a resting state. If you have a mother with babies on her, she's going to need much higher, like 20-ish%. So go higher when they are working. By working, I mean, you know, having babies, or they are growing up. Growing up takes a lot of energy. Okay, we are right by my garden. I see quite a few goodies right here. First, we've got our dandelions, which you can just do the leaf, or you can, if you can get a good grip on it. It's kind of hard. You can grab the whole plant and pull it up with root and feed that root to them. They like that an awful lot. I got a little more than I bargained for here. This on top is not dandelion. There we go. Now we're looking at dandelion. Yeah, you can feed them the leaves, the stems, the root, the flower, the stem of the flower. All of that is good. We've got some grasses right here. More dandelion. We've got a tiny little tree that wants to come up, but I'm not going to let it because we're right here by my garden. So I'm going to pull it up and I'm going to feed that to them. Anything woody, as long as it's safe. Not all trees are safe for rabbits, so make sure you're doing your homework. Good for rabbits. They enjoy that. There's usually Some medicinal benefits there, and then of course if it's woody, they enjoy chewing on that. It's good for their teeth. Their teeth are always growing, so you have to have something for them to work on to keep them happy so they're not bored and so their teeth aren't getting out of hand. Right here I spy a little wild strawberry plant right here. There you are. That's what those look like. You can feed them just this if you want. You can give them the little bitty strawberries that grow. We're too late in the season for that now, but I will go through and I will give them the little wild strawberries as well. They like those. All strawberries have these little runners that they put out to make more plants. See, it's this red. Oftentimes if I see it laying around, I think it's like a weed whacker string. There's another one right here. I think that we've got little weed whacker strings left everywhere, but it's just the strawberries jumping from one spot to another. I don't know, every rabbit's different. I've noticed that mine don't really like to eat much of this red piece, but they definitely like all of this, roots and all, leaves and all. They leave the stem alone. Can you tell that I've had my bunny tractor over here? I did that because we've got clover growing over here in just a little bitty patch. I'm trying to get it to expand. That's why I had a rabbit over here. She trimmed off the tops, encouraged some root growth, and then left some little surprises. So that way this is going to get more nitrogen to grow better next year. Clover is one of the best things you can feed to your rabbits. It's really high in protein. It doesn't have too much calcium, so it's fine to feed to your girls and your boys. Such a lovely little plant. I don't have a lot of clover. If you are more in an eastern state, you probably will have a lot more clover, so you're going to lean on this heavier. For me, I have quite a bit of this. Now, this is just a little patch, but I've got little patches like this all over my place. We've got alfalfa. So I take this alfalfa and I give it to my rabbits. And I dry quite a bit of it too. I'll get a bunch of them, hang them upside down, tie them up together like this, and I just hang them in the woodshed, and that dries, and that takes good care of my rabbits for a good part of the winter. They smell so good. One of my favorite plants, honestly. Here is another little patch of alfalfa that I really haven't picked on in the past couple weeks, so it's getting kind of big on me again. It's blooming out. Here we go, like this. They get quite a bit, pretty big. There. Let me pull her up, let you see this size. Ta-da! We've got a little tarp over there for the greenhouse. But this is just beautiful, and the rabbits love it. It's very good for them, high protein, awesome stuff. Good balance, really. I've got a whole mess of peas growing here that I just pull up and feed to my rabbits. It's that twisty, viney stuff right here. So I can pull that up and give it to the rabbits too. The chickens like it as well, so do the goats. This stuff is very satisfying to pull. Like so. Look at that. Perfect. We've got some fireweed here. Yarrow, goldenrod, Canadian thistle. This one is pearly everlasting. In this patch we've got some pearly everlasting, these little white flowers. You're not going to find much information on them because they're mostly medicinal, so they do not have like their protein or fiber content recorded. When you are researching your plants, you're going to find a lot of them, like pearly everlasting, will have medicinal information, but they will have very little on nutritional info. Definitely read about their medicinal qualities because that will tell you some things like their vitamins and mineral content. But make sure you are feeding them in like less than 5% of what your rabbit's diet is every day. Right here we have some Canadian thistle. You do not want to touch these. That hurts, but if you want to pick it and you don't have... Usually I will come through with a pair of scissors and I'll just chop them down here at the bottom, then carefully pinch it with my scissors here to move it. If you don't have that, just get as close to the ground as you can. See, this isn't hurting me. Grab it right here. And if you're careful, you can sometimes get the root. It's really good if you do this after it's rained. It's much easier to pull the root up that way. I try to get the root as much as I can because 1, the rabbits will eat it, and 2, I would like to eventually someday be able to walk barefoot outside. Next we have horsetail fern. This is not a good example. It's kind of chewed up already. Let's see. We've got this one right here. This is more of a whole plant. These are short. These are like 6-ish inches. We can get a few of them around here in really wet spots. They're like 3 feet tall, so don't let the height scare you there. A lot of resources say to not feed your rabbits horsetail fern because they contain this enzyme that breaks down thiamine, which is, it basically gives your rabbit a vitamin B deficiency. On the upside though, horsetail fern is really high in silica, which means it's great for bone health. People and animals can benefit from it if they suffer from osteoporosis. So like anything else, the dose is the poison. Too much of this will cause a vitamin B deficiency. Just a little bit, though, could help with your bone health and help them with developing stronger bones. It has a few other medicinal benefits for people and rabbits. I won't get into that crazy. I might do another video on that sometime. Next, I don't know if you can see it. It is later in the season, so the pretty little purple blooms have fallen off. There are little purple petals that come out of here. This is Heal All or Self-Heal. It's pretty good for treating ulcers, stomach issues, and diarrhea. Rabbits are just like horses, whereas if they have an empty stomach for any prolonged amount of time, it will give them ulcers. It is incredibly painful for them. You know that your rabbit has had periods where they have been without food. This could be helpful to kind of help them get back on track. And while we're talking about it, for people who don't know, when you are hungry or you are out and about and you smell delicious food and you start to produce saliva, if you eat right away, it doesn't affect you in any way, you're fine. But if you have gone and you've smelled that delicious food and then you just have to wait a while before you get your dinner, you'll notice that your stomach starts to hurt kind of a lot. Stomach acid production happens for us when we smell food or, you know, we just think about it. For rabbits though, and for horses and other animals, it does not stop. And it is not triggered by anything. They're just constantly producing that stomach acid. So if they don't always have something in their bellies for them to work on, they are going to feel really, really bad. When I was an ignorant little forage kid, my horses and my rabbits often got fed like twice a day, morning and evening, and they went without for a lot of the middle of the day and a lot of the middle of the night, and I know I caused them a lot of stress and pain. So I'm telling you that now as someone who's been there, done that, messed that up, and now I want to make sure you're not doing the same thing that I did. If you have other animals too, you can kind of watch and observe what they're eating and kind of copy them. Like goats and rabbits, they're not going to be exactly the same, but you can kind of use that as a good baseline for figuring out what are some plants you should start researching. Oxeye daisies are not native to Montana. They really shouldn't be here. They are invasive, and with that said, not many of them left because my goats have been hitting them hard, so thanks goats. But oxeye daisies, you can feed them whole plant, even with the roots some. Yeah, we got a little root on there. They are anti-inflammatory, anti-inflammation. That's what anti-inflammatory is, Sarah. They are antibacterial and antifungal, and also a diuretic, which means they will make you go pee more. In large doses, these are a sedative, but it is a pretty big dose. I'll have to find that and put it on the screen. I don't remember exactly how much it is, but it's quite a lot. You're not just limited to your ground plants. You can look for trees. There goes the goats. We've got a deer out here eating too. You're not limited to what's on the ground. You can cut down entire trees if you feel like it and take limbs off. You can just take little cuttings off. This is a spruce. I know that because it is sharp. It kind of hurts, so sharp spruce. Whereas fir is flat and friendly. These are not flat. These are like little... It's going to be hard to focus the camera, but there's 4 sides to these. She really doesn't seem too concerned with me today. This is a fir tree. Now you can really see the flatness of the little needles. See, they're little flat friendly babies. There, that shows up. 2 sides instead of 4. I'm going to put their information up on screen because I do not want to tell you something wrong from memory. Right above our fir, I've got a cedar right here, one of my favorites. She does work as a dewormer. Again, I believe you have to have a pretty high dose of that, so I get frustrated when I see people taking a little clipping like this size and they throw it to their goats and they say, I dewormed my goats or I dewormed my rabbits. You kind of need a lot more than that. Same goes for your pumpkin seeds and things. Yes, they help, but they are not a miracle worker. It's not a pill where just a teeny tiny little dose works. You kind of need quite a bit of it. Now, I am of the mind that anything that helps is helpful, so I'm not saying avoid it, but, you know, don't rely on that to just deworm your animals because it's probably not going to do it on its own. Now, this right here makes up the majority of my rabbits' diets, and this is alfalfa. We are We're almost in September now, so we're past our prime. Still a couple of them that are flowering back here. But my mama deer with her 2 babies who are hanging out over there behind that thicket. You can see they've just been taking just the little tops off of these. You can come through, you can graze like a deer, you can take kitchen shears or scissors and nip the tops off and feed to your rabbits that way, or you can come through and cut down, I'm going to say like right, I'm going to use my hand for reference. I know the camera skis. Like this is about 6 inches, this is about 6 inches, so somewhere around like the 8-ish mark right here is a good spot to trim. Ideally, when you are cutting this, like if you're going to cut some for hay and not just like immediate use, you're going to do so when you've got like 25 to 50% of these beautiful little purple flowers blooming. That's when it has the highest nutritional value. After that, it starts to deplete just a little bit as the season goes on. So obviously these are not as high of quality as they were earlier in the season, but still great. Still should make up a really large part of your rabbit's diet. Now, the only exception I will say to this is your buck should probably not get quite as much alfalfa. He is not going to need that much. 1, he probably doesn't need quite as high of protein, and 2, this is very high in calcium, and it's really easy for that calcium to build up with your boys. Now, someone's going to hear this and think that they should be worried about their grow-outs, the rabbits that they're going to be butchering soon. Don't worry about it. They're not going to have enough time to have that build up in their system before you're harvesting. Now, if you are like me, though, and you sometimes procrastinate how long it is between when you butcher your animals and you've got boys, yeah, maybe limit this a little bit. But for the most part, it's fine to give your grow-outs, boys and girls, plenty of alfalfa. Make that like 80, 90-ish% of their diet if you want. You can drop down to 70. It depends on what kind of grasses you have around your place. But this should be a good majority of it. I've been driving through here with my pickup a lot, so this is kind of bare, more so than usual. Montana can have some pretty bare soil because it's dry here, but this is worse. If you are more eastern and you don't have as much alfalfa just like readily growing at your disposal, highly recommend looking into clover. It's got a pretty similar nutritional value as alfalfa. It's very high in protein, not so high in calcium, so you can free feed this to your boys as much as you want, and I really don't think it's going to cause an issue. Again, I'm going to put all of this information up on the screen so that way you can take a good look at it and have that for your reference. Right here we've got goldenrod, again, past its prime. We're getting into September. A good anti-inflammatory with digestive and respiratory benefits. There are some lookalikes that are not so good, so definitely take the time to look at the leaves. Get your plant ID out. Take the time to use that Google image lookup. I don't know what that's called. I can't think of the name for it. But anyway, that thing is excellent. I will show you later in the video how to use that. And when you use that, don't just use it to ID it and then say nice and then move on with your day. Use that to then Google what the actual plant is that it gave you and look up all of the ID points, like your flowers, your leaves, what the stem is like, if it's got little hairy pieces on the stem or not. Make sure you're checking all your bases before you're feeding it to your animals, especially if you want to get into herbalism for yourself and your family too. If you're into foraging, you know that mullein, which is either really cute and little like this guy or really tall like these guys, is a good one for people to get into. It has a lot of health benefits. Not the case for rabbits. So just because something is herbal and good for people does not mean that it is going to be good for your animals. Thankfully, I have never fed this to my rabbits. And, oh man, look at those beautiful soft leaves. I've never fed it to my rabbits. Can't tell you from firsthand experience, thankfully. But it does cause diarrhea from what I have read. So yeah, keep that away from your bunnies. Now the mullein plant leaves, not so much, but these seeds up here, oh man, it's hard to get off. These, if they're crushed up and thrown in the water, they will stun your fish and paralyze them. Yeah, use that information very responsibly, please. Some of these seeds are coming out already. You can kind of turn that upside down, give it a little shake. That's them right there. This whole field by our house used to be nothing but Shasta daisy. No, excuse me, not Shasta daisies, oxeye daisies. Shastas are fine here, oxeyes are not. We're trying to get rid of those. It's mostly gone, you guys, and that's because I've been grazing my goats really heavy there. Same with the thistles, used to be really heavy on that. That's mostly gone. This area over here has not had goats, and look at this. Huge thistles. I mean, the daisies are right next to the thistles right there. So you can use your animals to really benefit your land and get things back to the way they're supposed to be. We have raspberries and currants over here. I tend to get those mixed up. I'm not sure why that's so difficult for me, but obviously if it's got the berries on it, I can tell what it is. But the leaves kind of confuse me, so always double check stuff. There are lookalikes everywhere. Here's another one. That's a good one to feed to your rabbits, and the goats will go straight for them. They are so hard on berry bushes. I am really trying to eradicate the knapweed, which is this. They're beautiful purple flowers here. Not good for Montana, not supposed to be here. I'm trying to get rid of them. And they're actually excellent for rabbits and goats. I think they're like 10 to 12% before they flower, and then once they start blooming, they call it the rosette stage. They're as high as 20% protein, so this is an excellent plant to give your animals. You can go all the way down to the root if you want, and then cut it off with a pair of sharp shears. You can break them off too. There, that actually broke much easier than I was anticipating. You can do it that way, or you can go through and rip them up by the roots. Ripping them up by the roots is very difficult. I've had trouble with that. Wait until it rains or soak the area first if you want to pull by roots, but they've got some pretty deep roots. Kind of hard to get out, but worth the effort to get them out of here. And, you know, they're beneficial for your rabbits and more beneficial for your land. So be ruthless with them. Make that a good part of their diet if you have a lot of it laying around. We also have yarrow here. You can tell it's yarrow because it's got these beautiful little fern-like leaves on the side. There is hemlock out here in Montana you have to be careful for. That's also a white flower. So please look at comparison before you go picking any yarrow. Once you know what it looks like, you're not going to get them mixed up anymore. But just that first few times you're picking, be really, really careful. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't have any nutritional content on these. They do have quite a few medicinal benefits. And anytime I throw like a whole just like myriad of stuff in the cage with my rabbits, this is like one of the first ones they go to. Excuse me. They really, really like yarrow for some reason. So yeah, it might have something that they have a deficiency in. It might taste good. I'm not really sure. It kind of smells cinnamony and sweet. I love it in teas and stuff. So maybe the rabbits just like it too. But it's another good one. Oats are obviously a really good one. These are already drying out. Look at those pretties. Those are about ready. You can feed them just the oats if you want, or more practically, cut the plant off down here once it's ready. Throw the whole thing in their cage. They're going to love it. They're going to eat the whole thing. A lot of them will start with the seeds and then work on the rest of the plant. They really like the oats of it. In a perfect world, everything I owned would get like 20% oats. I'm talking rabbits, goats, chickens, horses. I love oats. Obviously not 20% of their forage, but like 20% of their grain would be oats. It's so good for their coats. It makes them look so sleek and beautiful, and they just do really well on it. Oats are just not as space efficient as corn, so obviously they are more expensive, both labor, time, money to grow, so that way they don't tend to make up a big part of their diets. But in a perfect world, I would like for them to make up a big part of the diet. Anything with a stone fruit like a cherry, an apricot, I guess avocado would fall in that. Hard no. Both for the fruits and for the leaves. That also goes for your horses. Don't give them anything stone fruit related. Absolutely no potatoes, no tomatoes, no onions. Not good for them. I'm talking about, you know, the greenery of it. They shouldn't eat any part of the potato, like the tuber either. They might eat your tomato plants, but don't give them these greens. It's not good for them. It's part of the nightshade family. What's the other one? Eggplant falls in that category as well. Just avoid those. Corn, both the plant and what grows on it. Yes, this was a volunteer. It is looking real sad. Because he's here all by himself. He does not have friends. He is not going to do well. Kale is a yes. That one's fine. Sunflowers are another yes. You can give them. Hello. You can give them the seeds out in the middle once they're mature, or you can just give them the whole plant. I grew these because I wanted to feed them to my rabbits and chickens. They're, I mean, obviously very beautiful while they're growing, but their main purpose is to just feed the animals. I actually should clarify, I'm not going to be feeding this to the rabbits this year. I'm going to be saving every single seed I can get because I planted this whole section in sunflowers, and this is the only spot that popped up. They're still having a hard time acclimating to our cold. Both our cold weather and our really long days where we only get like 5 hours of darkness, it's hard on them. So I'm hoping that the next generation will be better suited to our area. So we're going to seed save and try again next year. We've got broadleaf plantain here that has been eaten on by the snails a bit. As you can see there, this is another good one. Let's see if I can pull this up. I usually pull them up by the roots, and they just keep coming back because, as you can see, they've seeded out. So don't worry about pulling your roots up. Ooh, there. I usually keep a little bit of the soil in there just because the rabbits, they tend to eat just a little bit. They won't eat a lot of it, but there's some vitamins and minerals in there. It's a different texture. They kind of like it, so. Plantain is called white man's footprint too because this is a European plant that got brought here with colonizers. So anywhere the white people went, this little plant started popping up. Squash, pumpkins, winter squash. That's another good one. You can feed them the leaves. You can also feed them your little pumpkins and things that are growing. We got one there that's kind of small. Got another little one. Oh, I got a kid's toy right there. We got another little one right there that's growing. These are favorites of ours too. I'm going to grow these to eat, some for us, some for the animals. And I'm going to save every single seed out of these to grow even more next year. I have a big stockpile of pumpkin and squash seeds, but I feel like I can never have enough of them. So, can you use a lawnmower with a bagger to feed your rabbits faster? Not really. That lawnmower is going to chop your foliage into really, really tiny pieces, and the smaller those pieces are, the faster it is for it to start the fermentation process, and that is not great for rabbits. That's one of those things where they might get sick, but more than likely they will just die. So don't do that. You may be able to use a weed eater. If you are doing that, make sure that it's larger pieces, it's not chopped up really small, and you're feeding it to the animals within like 5 minutes of it getting cut down. Whatever they haven't eaten within the first, I'm going to say half hour, maybe an hour, depending on the humidity levels in your area, you need to take back out of their cage. You don't want that to ferment in their cage. More than likely, they just won't eat it if it's bad. But if they're hungry, they might, and you do not want any of that. So more than likely, use a hand, like just physically pull it. You can use scissors, you can use a hand sickle or a scythe. Those are all great options. After your 2 to 3 months of slowly acclimating them to your forages, so that way they're, if you want, are giving them a full forage diet, make sure that about whatever size your rabbit is, that's about how big the mound of grass is that you're giving to that animal. If they are running out of feed in between your feedings, you need to give them more. And if you come back later to feed them more and they've still got a little bit left, reach in there and get all of that out, so that way there's nothing left in there to go bad, and then replace it with the fresh. The air is pretty dry here in Montana. I'm very fortunate with that, so I don't really have to worry about moldy grasses or a lot of fermentation. If you are somewhere that is more humid, you do need to pay more attention to that. Maybe scatter it in their cages a little better. If they've got good airflow, probably not an issue. As you start feeding your rabbits, though, you're going to notice just about how much they're eating. You want to make it so that every time you go out there, there's just a little bit left that you're scraping out. And for me, I just throw that stuff on the compost pile, and then that adds to it. So you're feeding your animals, you're feeding your soil, and then if you are going through and you're hand harvesting all of the forage, you can do it before things seed out, so that way the rabbit manure has like no seeds in it. You don't have to worry about that with your garden. That is like a huge benefit that I rarely see people talk about, but now that I am building up soil in my greenhouse and I've built up soil in my garden beds, that one is such a nice benefit. It's such a silent privilege. Oh, it's great. I'm at the point now where basically the only thing that ever gets through my rabbit manure is the oats, which I really don't mind having volunteer oats. I just pull it up and feed it back to the rabbits again. They've only started on pellets recently, so this has not had a chance to change their body conditioning. The fresh forage is really, really good for them if they're acclimated to it. Hi, Mama. It's a girl who knows how to eat, right? Yeah. Now, the reason why I'm saying after 3 full years of just foraging and taking care of my rabbits that way, I have started very, very slowly, again, introducing them to pellets, is because my husband and I are working a collective 130 hours a week this fall, and that is going to continue until like November-ish. So life is really busy, and that does not include things like our greenhouse and my corral down here, and hopefully our horse barn, things like that. So that 130 hours a week is literally like our jobs. That is not including all the other stuff. That is not including YouTube. That is not including social media. Yeah, and none of my freelance stuff is fitting into that either. Like that is like baseline 130 hours a week. It's a lot. So we have had to make a few changes. The pellets are one of them. My rabbits are still not 100% on pellets yet. And I will continue to go out here and forage for them as I can, but it's just going to be in smaller doses because I don't want to upset their bellies and I want to do the very best I can for them. So yeah, I feel like I want to be super transparent with you guys and explain what's going on around here, and that is one of the few little changes we've had to make. As you can see, I've got one little rabbit out here in the bunny tractor. She is just living her best life. The kids have named her Mint. Yeah, she's going to be the next one that we butcher. But until then, she is living a really good life out here on the grass in the sunshine. If you don't have someone in your area to help you ID plants, open Google on your phone and tap the camera icon within the search bar. You can use this feature to take a picture of whatever plant you're trying to identify. Start from the top of the plant. If that doesn't bring up what you need, take a picture from the side. That might help more. If you think it's ID'd the plant you have, this is just step 1. Don't say, cool, that's the plant, and leave it at that. Next, you need to go through and type in exactly what you just found, and then look for a credible source, something that is going to go into depth on the identification of that plant. Department of Agriculture, DNR, National Forest, anything by any of the colleges are going to be great options. Go through there and read everything you can about that plant. And when you finish that, look up the nutritional and medicinal qualities of that plant as well. That is going to get you and your rabbits the information that you need. Honestly, I don't even remember what I have for next week, but of course it is homesteady related. I may go through and do a further breakdown on the How to Feed Your Animals Without the Feed Store series. I know there's like so much context I want to add to those, so may go through and do something on that. We've got our greenhouse panels. I'm really excited to show you those. We're making pretty good progress on the greenhouse despite our crazy work hours. I also plan on doing a pasture to plate style video on rabbits, so that way it shows you how to process and get your rabbit literally from the pasture to the plate in a really short period of time. It is not intimidating. I really don't like, honestly, I've been butchering rabbits this whole time, like years, and I still don't enjoy the actual dispatch system, the whole process. It's just a necessary part of life. Okay, I don't enjoy doing that. I really don't enjoy filming it, but I know that like exposure therapy is real. So if you are able to see it more often, maybe you're less intimidated by it, and maybe you would be more likely to be okay with raising and butchering rabbits on your own, because I know that's intimidating. I've been there. I want to make it easier for you, so we will show you that. Homesteading is not supposed to be expensive. It's not supposed to be scary. There used to not be a word for it because that was just living. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I really, really appreciate it. I've got more videos on the way. They will come out every Monday, 5 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So be there if you want. I appreciate you, and talk at you again later. Bye.